Hi everyone, very happy to be recording a new episode for you today. We're just going to continue the self-sabotaging series and talk about a second scenario today. But I would just like to recap what we discussed last time so that you can make the connections and we can actually build on what we discussed last time. So last time we discussed about the primary caregivers, which is usually the parents, not being present for the child, and we discuss how that child develops that belief that people won't be here for him or her. And as adults, what happens is this person starts to actually reject relationships. So when people try to get close to such people who had such a childhood, they start to reject people. They don't let people come close to them. All right. So that was what we discussed last time, but obviously in more detail. And today we're going to talk about the second scenario. So in the second scenario, what happens is the caregiver was there for some time, but not all the time. Okay. So the parent was there for the child, not the whole time, but actually that child had a taste of what love is because the parent was there partly. Okay? Now, what happens in this scenario is the child had a taste of love, but it was not consistent love. So that child wants to get more love. Okay? Because what does it do now to the child and to the adult once you had such experiences? Thing is, you had a taste of love, but it wasn't like consistent love, so you yearn for love. And what happens is when someone actually shows you affection and gets close to you, what you do is, because you had such an experience as a child, what you do is you cling to the person. Okay, you cling to the person and you don't want to let go because you fear that person which is present in your life right now may just go away, just like the experience you had in the past as a child. Okay, so what happens is when people get close to you, try to cling to them. Now that's a sort of sabotaging relationships as well, because the partner or the people who are trying to get close to you, they will feel suffocated when you actually try to hold too close to them. And that's one way you could be undermining your relationships again. All right? And if we try to use an analogy of like holding sand in our hands, just to link that to relationship, the more you try to hold the sand in your hands and the more you try to hold it tightly, what happens is the sand goes away from your hand. So it's the same with the relationships. You need to give certain freedom to the relationship for it to work. And the more you try to hold on to it, the more it doesn't work, because your partner will feel suffocated in that relationship. And we can do a simple experiment just to physically understand what I'm trying to tell you. You just try to put your left hand on your right hand. All right? So do that. And then once you do this, you automatically feel a certain warmth in your hand. And now you gently hold your left hand with your right hand and experience that feeling you're feeling right now. It's very warm. It's very soothing. You can feel all the affection in your left hand right now. Okay? Now, imagine someone having that syndrome which we just discussed, which is panic anxiety. So that person, when he or she receives love, that person is going to hold the left hand tightly. So what I'm going to ask you to do is, you're now going to squeeze your left hand. Okay? So that's someone holding on to you too tightly, and you start to feel uncomfortable and you start to feel pain. All right? And this is what actually happens to your relationships when you try to hold on too much. And that thing which we're discussing right now, it actually gets more difficult, gets more nasty, let's say. Because let's say we have that person who received love partly in his or her childhood and have that panicked anxiety syndrome. That person knows what love is, but also is afraid that he or she will lose that love somehow. All right. So what happens is, let's say we have someone who got into a toxic relationship, okay, where there might be violence or there might be one partner mistreating the other one. The very fact that the person had a childhood where that person developed that syndrome, that panic anxiety syndrome, and that person is scared of actually losing company or part of the affection he or she is receiving from the partner, even if the relationship is an abusive one, that person will be reluctant to actually leave that relationship, because that person thinks that he or she may not be able to form a new relationship because he or she doesn't trust himself or herself fully to actually rebuild his or her life. So that's actually quite an important thing to discuss, in fact, because if you look how the current reality is shaped by the past experiences and how negatively can affect the way you think about yourself or the way your confidence is when it comes to forming relationships, it's quite deep, and it actually helps you to think about your own behavior, how you're behaving right now, and how it might actually have been linked to your previous experiences. So hopefully it makes you think a bit, and you actually can refer to some of the things I've discussed. And what I would really like to happen is you actually realizing, oh, maybe I went through that too, and maybe it's something I need to work on. Okay, so that's the whole point of making the series. And my aim is to actually end the series with an exercise and propose solutions, things you can do and things you can change. So we'll keep the momentum going, and I really hope that it will help you. Okay, see you very soon, guys. Bye-bye.